Democratic candidate for the United States Senate here in Tennessee. Welcome. Nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
This is an interesting race in a lot of ways, but first let's introduce you. Why are you in this race? Talk a little bit about James Mackler. What do you hope to achieve?
Thanks for asking. I've spent my entire adult life working to protect and defend the Constitution, both in the courtroom and on the battlefield. And I'm running for the United States Senate because I feel much the way I felt after September 11th, a call back to service. I was practicing law on 9/11. After our country was attacked, I joined the Army. I went to fly helicopters for the 101st Airborne Division, and then I was a military prosecutor prosecuting crimes for the JAG Corps. I'd returned to private practice, and I'm raising a family here in Tennessee, but I can see our country is in trouble again in a different way. Our elected leaders they're making a mess in Washington, and Tennessee families they're suffering for that. I know people, my family, my friends, my neighbors throughout the state who are working hard, but they're still having trouble paying their bills. They're still struggling to know where their health care is going to come from. They're worried about education. And our elected leaders are more worried about sound bites than solutions. They're arguing over who's going to get credit for what instead of how they're going to solve our most basic problems. And I know from my experience that Americans can accomplish anything when we work together. I saw that in Iraq. I saw that in the desert. I saw that in the helicopter. I've seen that in the courtroom. And I know that leaders have to make sacrifices. I've sacrificed for my family, for my community, for the state, for the country. So I'm running for the Senate for the same reason I joined the Army. I can make a difference, and it's the right thing to do.
When you look at what's taking place in Washington or what's not taking place in Washington as the gridlock continues in many forms, health care is a big issue, infrastructure is a big issue, the budget's a big issue, mass transit here in Middle Tennessee is going to be a big issue. Are those the issues that you want to talk to voters about? You've
named a lot, and it's hard to narrow them down.
Sure.
There are so many issues that concern voters. If I had to, I would pick three. I would start with jobs. I believe that a hard day's work should earn a living wage. I see Tennesseans who are working so hard. Tennesseans are hard-working people. They're innovative, they've got initiative, and they will improve the lives of their families if given the chance. We just have to give them those opportunities. The federal government needs to really focus on investing in places that create jobs now and into the future, things like education and infrastructure. After jobs, I think about health care. The health care debate really highlighted what's wrong with our political system right now. An example of that is Senator Corker said that he didn't even care what the substance of the health care plan was, that he would vote for whatever the party put forward. And that's exactly what he did. And to me, one party crafting a secret bill behind closed doors without input from the American people is exactly what's wrong with business as usual in Washington. I believe that access to affordable, quality health care is a right, and that cuts to Medicaid or reducing essential coverage or increasing premiums for the sick and elderly, that's wrong and that's tragic.
Not telling you anything you don't know, it's a red state. The Republicans hold majority of the congressional seats, both Senate seats, supermajority in the House and Senate, the governor's chair. How does a Democrat, with the message that you have, break through all that red, break through that Republican strength that is Tennessee?
I joined the Army after 9/11 because I had to do more. I left my law practice to run for Senate because I felt called to service. I think that my proven record of service is going to appeal to Tennesseans throughout the state who are frankly disappointed with their current leadership and are ready for change.
One of the big issues that really is the touchstone for everything that comes after it is education. Where do you see Tennessee moving forward in education? We've made some strides, but we're not where we want to be.
We've made some strides. My mom was a public school teacher for 40 years. I'm a product of public schools. I couldn't believe more strongly that education is the very best pathway to opportunity for the middle class. We've got to make sure that we've got good schools for our children, that we've got affordable college, and that we have access to vocational and technical training for people for whom either college isn't right or who want to make that mid-career transition. But it's not a partisan issue. There's no difference between Democrats and Republicans in the desire to make sure we have an education. That's how we achieve the American dream. That's how we get good jobs, and that's how we keep our families together.
Forget the D and the R that would be next to your name. What would you tell voters out there why they should give James Mackler a shot and listen to your message?
If there's anything I want voters to know about me, it's that I believe in service. I believe in the value of service. I paid my student loans with combat pay from Iraq. I know what it means to be a leader and to be a servant leader, and that's what we need more than anything in Washington right now.
James Mackler, Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Appreciate your time and your insight. Nice meeting you, sir.
Nice meeting you, too. Thank you.
Stay with us. This week continues in a moment.